Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and a very good morning to all of you. We are extremely privileged to have Mr. Chong with us for this couple of weeks to give a series of masterclasses, workshop, as well as performances. This morning we have in store for you the second workshop, which is the self-awareness and assessment. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Chong Lim.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. And today's session will be very light and nothing too technical or whatever. But because as I thought about this workshop, I always think that it's so important that we know our strengths and weaknesses. So as a musicians, we always have doubt. As usual, whatever we do, right? As a teacher or performer or musicians, always have doubt. So it's good to know yourself more and also know how to move forward after that. Means like you know your strengths and weaknesses. You have to be confident, but sometimes overconfident is not too good. But what I want to say is that today's session is going to be very, very light, and hopefully will be full of discussion and sharing and fun today. Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to be too serious. And now, what we have to, I will ask the usher to hand out all the questionnaire. For the first 10 minutes, we'll be just giving you to fill up the form, and there's some question there, assessment. And then later on, I will just take about 2-3 minutes to look through it. You don't have to write down your name because it's not going to be you just fill up without your names, and then we will collect about 10 minutes or 12 minutes time. Is that right? Okay. Okay, sorry, before we start, may I know how many string players are here? Strings, or I saw some instruments who are string players, because the last week we have workshop mostly for pianist and composer. Any string players today here? Vocal, singers? Okay, good. And composers today? Wow, good. And then pianist? Well, mostly pianists. Okay, all right, okay, good. We have many different type of students here. Good. Okay, we can start now. Try to fill up the form. Hi again. Yeah, I have collected all the forms here, and I looked through just roughly, and I noticed, yeah, it's good to just to look through all these questions, and then you self how to say critical about what your ability is. But I'm not going to talk one by one, but I will just generally I look through it, and I will share a little bit about why do I choose to do that, like to have a questionnaire. It's because from this then we will know what is the next step, like including how to practice and choose the repertoire, and also choose your career, or look into I was your age before, like around 18 to 25. I was also very lost, and so we go through the same thing. But now I'm maybe double your age, so I have a little bit more experience in life, so I can share some ideas or some suggestions. Okay, now we have 2 mics here. If you have any question, you can just come down and just ask questions, and you can talk. We can discuss together, and we can share together. All right. So, I look through here. So mostly we talk about, about musicianship, the technique, the learning pace, and also listening, the oral sensitivity, and also some point about nerves on stage, self-motivation, passion, and open-minded, yeah. And then creativity, and how to review whether listening to music performances. Also, be curious about other aspects of music, and to know your own problem in your music making, and also working with musicians. So those things are just very basic, but it's just we need those things to know how to move on. As I say, move on in your practice. So now I will talk about on practicing first. Okay. So not only to pianists, but to singers or string players, or other instrumentalists. I always suggest that a few steps to practice is first thing, as a classical musicians, not jazz musician, but as a classical musicians, we always have the scores. A good addition is important. And then the scores means first you have to read the score carefully. But I noticed because of the technology these days, everyone will listen to recording first. So they haven't read the score. Oh, I like this work, and they already listened to many recordings. So before they read the score, so to me, it's more important that you read the score first. Read the score carefully to know all the intentions from the composers. Like example, Beethoven is very clear with all his indication. Ravel is a perfectionist. Yeah, so everything is written there. You just have to, just an example here. So read the score very carefully, because that's the first creation by this composer. They mark down everything in the score. Of course, we have room to be creative or to interpret slightly different, because example, if they mark down Andante, doesn't mean that everyone have to play the same tempo. But please don't play presto, please, because it's Andante. But within Andante, there's a certain kind of range that you can think about. So that's first step in practicing, means you read the score to understand as much as the composer's intentions, and you try to imagine and feel the music here first before you start playing, because we get excited all the time. Oh, we see the score and let's play. But you haven't read it carefully yet. So what I felt is, first step, read and understand the score and imagine. The second step, then you practice, you play through it. Maybe you start read through. Of course, first time you play quite terrible because of maybe wrong notes or whatever, but at least you have an idea. But the most difficult is the third step, is to listen to yourself. Whether you when you practice, whether you hear what what you will imagine before, like the first step, or what you feel about the music. So that's just a simple kind of general remarks about when I practice, I will think about all this. And so when I say like listen to yourself, of course, then you will start to compare, you listen to many different players recording, now we have YouTube, Spotify, all this, or CD recording. So I felt that is important too, because you get some ideas about all these great traditions, how from many, many years, how they played from, example, if I take Chopin, they have recording by Chopin student, or the great Chopin player, Koto, Rubinstein, till now. You have all this Chopin competition, the winners, and things like that. So you can see that the trend is quite different, the style is different, but you get to know, a variety of interpretation, Okay, the next one is about, once we know the score very well, like example, we prepare for recital, we already know the piece very well, and you will revisit it again, maybe a few years later. What do? I will also start as a beginner. The reason is because we don't remember all the marking of the composers. Like, example, maybe I played a Beethoven when I was 20 years old. Now I'm 40 something. I don't think I remember all the marking because it's too many, all these details. So it's good to start again, read carefully, and prepare them like a beginner. Of course, you learn faster because you already know the piece, but don't assume that you know everything because we forget after so many years. The next thing is slow practice. I said that a few before that last week to students, a few students here. Slow practice is so important because you hear every detail, but also sometimes slow practice with very alert and conscious mind. Not just slow practice and just relax and you're not thinking at all. It's just like moving the fingers. So that doesn't help, especially for some technical thing or some more complicated coordinations. So you need to have very alert and very listen carefully, and then you have a clear mind. Is actually very fast to react. Another one is this is only for some time. Practice softly. Yeah, for all instruments, I think softly, because when you play softly, you are clear, and your mind is like listening to more. Because sometimes we get too involved all the time, practices. It can get too, and you just get too really practicing. Maybe we are just performing in the room when we're supposed to be practicing, not performing. So this is just some suggestion here. And the other one is, during practice, we have to be super demanding to ourselves. The reason is, you have to be really, really tough on yourself, like do whatever you need to do and make sure that no excuses for, some like carelessness or, So, but you see, when practice, you say it, you work so hard, like, every time you just say, no, I have to do this, I have to do this. But on stage, once you go for either competition or exams or performances, you have to let go because you have to be realistic. It's not going to happen 100% what you did when you practice. I can say that I never played it. I'm never 100% happy with my own performance at all, ever. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not trying to make myself feeling sad if I play badly, or I feel like, of course I played badly before, or I play sometimes decent or sometimes okay. But what I want to say is like, be realistic during performance. We do our best, and those hard work, it pays off during the performance. That you have to enjoy it, have to let go. So now I talk about practicing. Just a few points here. So before I move on to repertoire, how to select repertoire, because from the the awareness that everyone's different, So I want you all to ask some questions if you have any questions about practicing, about some doubt, you don't know what to do during your practices. Any questions from the students? Anyone? There's two mic here, left and right. about practicing. Any questions? Yeah, please. Yeah. Push up. Yeah. Camera. Yeah.
Hello? Okay,
No,
that's
camera.
my one, two, three.
There's a video. The video. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, for you practice, are you doing it like very consistently, like for like every week you do like, there's like certain day you practice, but what if like that day that you're supposed to practice, you yourself is very, very tired and you are really not in the state?
Okay.
How would you like, what would you do?
Okay. My suggestion is, of course, practice consistently is very more important than just like I practice 6 hours today and then I stop for 2 weeks. So it won't help. So, but as student, I think you all have time. Sometimes you do feel like you don't want to practice, just take off one day. I think it's okay to just to relax a little bit. Yeah, we don't want to burn out, but consistently practice is so important. But again, a lot of but when you are very busy, when you're working or become professional, like you have to travel a lot, that's almost impossible to be so consistent.
Yeah.
You know, like, so then you have to find a good balance. Everything is about balance. Like, you know, like even playing is about balance, about life is balance. But to find that balance, even practicing, you have to find the balance. So what I want to say is, this is a very good question because sometimes we don't feel like practicing, like, or sometimes we just take off. So I think it's important. Example, like my experience, because I travel a little bit to do something beside music. So if I travel one time, can be 6 weeks. So I have no piano at all. It won't have. I mean, those places has no piano. So I'm not able to touch anything. But sometimes I miss it. I will just think about music, or I do something else because I'm also a composer. So I can bring my sketchbook and write. But I cannot practice for 6 weeks, for sure. So that's example. So I will find a way to balance it. So that's what I want to say is like practicing is not so much about many hours, but it's effectively. Have to practice effectively. It's important. But consistently it's important to just to get your fingers, I mean, if you're a pianist or even violinist or cellist, you get your fingers like, you know, in good shape. Because actually, if I don't play for 6 months, I'm sure my fingers will be terrible. Yeah, but of course, when we are more experienced now, we know how to get back fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
okay.
also, I have another thing is that, because actually, like for vocalists like me, so I tend to have like this thing happen once a year or like, you know, two times a year where like I really need to rest my vocals, so I would just like rest for like that whole week and not do anything.
Okay.
Because I don't know, because I'm not sure if pianists have the same issue.
Yeah.
But for us, like, because sometimes when we do so much, it would be really affect our vocal, and we need to have like a really rest. Yes, yeah.
I think for all instruments as well, but I think vocal is of course more obvious because very you know, it's your body, but I do feel that it's similar. Like of course the example like pianists can practice many hours, but not the brass player or wind player because you know it's tiring, or vocal as well. So there's like difference between each you know, different instrumentalists or singers. But what I'm talking about practicing in general, we have to be effective. We have to know what is the best for us. Not just put in hard work and nothing happens sometimes, you know? Like sometimes you even strain your voice or strain your hands and something.
And also like what you said like just now, like about like the 6 week without piano, so you do something else. So does that mean like sometimes when we don't do our practice, maybe we can do something that's related to it to actually not lose the touch? Is that what you said just now?
Technical things, sometimes we need the instruments, right? But I think creativity or inspiration, we can be inspired by anything.
Yeah.
Like, you can inspired by a walk or by reading, books or experience like traveling. All sorts of things can be inspired. So music, it doesn't go away because like we can feel it, we can imagine it, we can, we hear it or we inspired by words. Like sometimes to me, like when I travel, I inspired by, looking at the things, how people live or, something like that. So,
But also, I'm just curious, like, how old does it take for you? I mean, like, when you start to realize that you actually need inspiration? Because back then, like, for us, right, a lot of us, we tend to think that practice is everything, and then they just keep practicing. For them, like, they just say that if you don't practice, you won't get it. So you need to practice. So they have this mentality where they keep practicing, but they don't know what they are practicing for.
This is what I want to talk about because of the, the assessment.
Yeah.
So to know your example, okay, now, very good questions. Like sometimes you were saying that we just have, as a student, we keep practicing, but we don't know what we have to do or how to achieve higher level because it's just practicing for the hours, and you thought that's enough. So when you know your strength, example, like, okay, talk about strength or weaknesses. Okay, now if I know that I'm not a fast learner,
Okay.
so I learn very slow, and how do I make myself to be faster? Right, learning like a piece, something like that, or a sight reader, because a good sight reader is very important for as a accompanist or even anything. Yeah, it's good. It's a good skill for as a student. So I always say that like reading a book. The more you read the book, the faster you can. Faster that you can understand, and then you don't have to like, oh, do I understand this sentence or do I understand this word? Because you get used to it. It's the same thing like if you talk about playing Mozart. Mm-hmm. I always joking to students, I say, okay, all of you are here. Some of you are pianists, some of them not. But there are 18 sonatas, example by Mozart. Yeah, 18. How long does it take for you to sight read all? You think? Sight read. It can be badly because you just sight read through just to enjoy the music. Like, I want to know all the Mozart sonata, 2 books, yeah, to a textbook or something like that.
I'm not entirely sure, but I guess it will take days.
Take days to sight read? Okay. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
What about any pianist? What do you think? To sight read, not say perfect, but just sight read through. You can play wrong. I mean, when we sight read, we make mistake, right? But even half the tempo, all the sonata, all 18 of them.
Any pianists here?
Yeah, pianist?
I'm not a pianist. I can't relate.
There are many pianists here just now. I saw them raising hand.
Anyone? Hiya. Chill lah. Just ask.
I saw, I remember, Zizhi, is it? Yeah? You play, yeah, that's right. What do you think? Yeah, come, please come now. Yeah. We are just having, don't have to be so serious, just having fun, talking, chatting.
I think probably 2 to 3 times the duration of the piece itself.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it slowly.
Yes, and how many days do you think?
It depends. I think
for you, how many days do you take to sight read through? Yeah, not to say perfection, but not to performance level. Just practice it through, just run through it to enjoy.
Like 18 sonatas?
Yeah, all of them.
Maybe, I don't know, 3 to 4?
Yeah? Yeah, it can be 3 to 4. If you put 6 hours a day, it's just 2 days. Just 2 days. But you see, of course I'm not talking about performing level, but just to enjoy the music. Of course, Beethoven 32 sonatas take a long time, maybe a week to play through or a bit more, yeah, because many of them. But I think it's just to enjoy the music. Of course, you see, it's good to know them. The more you play them, the more you understand the language of maybe a classical style or Haydn, Mozart, and Chopin, 14 voices. If you practice slowly, again, I'm talking about not performance level yet. And this is something that is a knowledge. Next time when you teach, or when you want to choose a repertoire, say, oh, I like that Chopin voice, or I like this sonata, I think that's my favorite. So you just immediately That's how we get to know the language. So it's like it makes you learn faster because it's like first time I hear new music. New music means like the new contemporary music. I have no experience. For me, it's almost impossible to understand or to read through the music. What is going on, you know? But the more you get used to it, the more you have become confident. So to me, it's all about, this is not practice, this is more about, I don't say this is a practice like I have to force myself to do it, no. I do it as I enjoy just exploring music. So it's enjoyment, this is not practice, so to me, yeah.
And also, I have this question. This has always been in my mind. Do you think it's important to actually, like for classical pianists, like there's like Beethoven, there's like Chopin, and then there's like different composers. Do you think it's important to actually read the literature to understand how are them as a person to actually play their piece? So like you know what are they thinking when they are playing the piece and are composing. Yeah, because I think it's very important like in terms of like expressing the song. Because if you don't understand the person, it's hard for you to imagine like how would they want to present it, right? Do you think that's an important factor in terms of like playing?
It's always good to know more.
It's always good to know more.
It's always good to know more because I think it's important for sure. You have to know the personality, the background before it, or the history, or what is influenced the wartime, or you know, or sometimes some composers they compose something not just because of exactly how they feel at that moment, maybe in the past experience, or something they just want to write something new, you know. It's not always 100% that, oh, when he wrote this, he's like this feeling. But how do we know? We don't know. It's just roughly the time, whether he struggled, whether he's happy, or whether. But some of them are very clear. So we just have to read more. Just have to put the dedication of knowing more. So it's not. I always say learning music is because we love it. It's not because like it's a job. It's a job that's like you have to study this and you get this paper and you become a musician. No, it's not like this. It's because we love it. We keep learning. We keep wanting to look for more things. That it's actually enjoyable to go through all this what do you call it, like exploration, you know, like you go and read, you go and travel, like I go to Beethoven's house in Bonn just to see where he was born and things, something like that. So to me, it's enjoyable, it's something, it's part of the experience. It's not like I have forced to do it.
Yeah, I agree on that point, because I don't know, because sometimes I see some people when they play something, they're just like, oh, why am I playing this? Because my teacher asked me to do it, and then like, they don't really like try to understand what they just play for the sake of play. So it's like, I don't know, it's like you're studying music, but it doesn't seem like you're really passionate about it. I like music, but then I'm practicing, but what am I practicing for? And I'm looking at this piece, and I don't even understand like, what is it? It's such a shame sometimes, you know?
So that's why I have later on the second half, I will talk about what, just 2 days ago we had the Schumann recital. So I talk about Schumann's advice for young musicians. The first thing is about passion. So we are all coming here to study or to learn or to share. This is a music university. So I think it's so important that we have this passion. What we are doing because something we love. Because we have to love the music to go on with, it's going to be for, like to me, it's like, I'm very blessed and privileged to have a chance to learn, and now I have a chance to share with young people, and I feel very privileged. So something is like, it's a lifetime. Like kind of, it's not like I do it for the sake of just because I have to do it, or I don't know what I can do besides this. No, it's not that, because I choose to do that. So.
Yeah, and also I really encourage like all of you to like ask questions, because this is like a once in a lifetime experience. You don't get this chance a lot, No.
No.
I mean, as in because there's a lot of like good pianists out there, but like why not when you have the chance, just ask the question? Because I feel like the one is asking is kind of sad. I'll be finishing my question.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your question. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry. Hi, Mr. Ng. I just have a question on the idea of practice. I think I have been intrigued by child prodigies for a very long time,
Yeah.
and I'm curious how do we make young students practice and the whole philosophy, the whole psychology of child prodigies. Why can some children practice for such a long time and others they are a bit restless and they don't practice that much? And what can we do perhaps as tutors, or what can institutions do to sort of enable more of these child prodigies? Or or to among young students, because I think university students have that intrinsic motivation, but young children don't. So
Yeah.
how do we, or do you have some ideas on that?
In some ways, I have dealt with children quite a lot in my teaching. So I find it very important to know that first thing I think is they have to enjoy. The love of, they like music, they enjoy, but because of the instruments itself, sometimes there are difficulties. So, children give up quite easily because of, not even children, even adults, sometimes we give up quite easily because of the challenging or the challenges or the difficulties of, or they get distracted. And also very important to know children, not every child is the same. Their concentration span or their characteristic. Or like those who can sit, like these days I can say there are lots of tiger moms. Tiger moms, I'm sure you understand what I mean, like tiger moms means like, but sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need, but personally I have a very easygoing parents who doesn't understand what I'm doing at all when I was young till now. So I'm thankful to that. They don't push me because I think I'm quite a rebellious person in general. So if someone pushed me, I won't do it. I'm just kidding. Maybe I'm quite an obedient boy. I don't know. I have to ask my mom and my dad. I mean, my mom. Yeah. But anyway, so what I want to say is, everyone is individual. So when you talk about system, I have something to share with you all about why we have to treat every single one individual. Because music is not, this is a joke, okay? I joke in a way, but we shouldn't make every student like the same franchise like McDonald's burger. So like if I do this, it's the same taste. So everyone train the same way. I find those are two, because we are artists, we're going to be musicians, something creative, something individual, something original, or something different. We should be different in music. We cannot play exactly the same. We don't sing the same. And everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, I said. And I'm very thankful to my teacher because they let me develop on my own. I remember the first time, I think I talked to the composer before in the composition workshop. When I get into the university, study composition, and I really admire this teacher because he's such a, not only big name, but so kind and so humble. He just said one thing to me. First thing he told me after I passed the entrance exam, he just said, I'm not here to teach you how to compose. I'm here to find your voice. I'm here to help, no, not find your voice. I'm here to help you to find your voice, that's it. And the first thing he told me, that I was like, wow. Because a lot of people are waiting for people to tell them, what should I do now? Yes, we have to give them the key to open the right door. But you have to go inside. After you open the door, you have to go inside and find the treasure. Because everyone will look at different things in there. But sometimes we need the guidance, but also need to let the students look for what they need. So, and we teach, I make lots of mistakes in my life, for sure, even now, but I try to teach what they need, not so much what I want to. Because what I want to means that I make everyone the same. So I don't want, but I want to see, oh, that's their problem. Hopefully I can solve that problem. It can be technical, it can be personal, I don't know, the characteristic. Sometimes some students are too shy, or some of them are too timid, or some of them are, so it's just all sorts of problems we have to face. So for children, I think you were talking about child prodigy and all this, but I feel that some, because of they have certain ability which is like very flexible. they have the technical ability. But I think maturity, young children, normally not so fast. I mean, you cannot ask a 9-year-old very good, maybe very good kids to play Beethoven, late Beethoven sonata. That's impossible because experiences, the mind is not there. Maybe the notes, but not the music, not the understanding. So this is what I think it's important that some music that we need time to grow. But of course, those little technical things we can work, if they're hardworking, they are very talented, flexible, all this, we can work on it. Do you teach a lot?
Not a lot.
Not a lot,
Yeah.
okay, good. Yeah.
All right,
So,
thank you.
so you teach mostly young children?
Yes.
Oh, that's good, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, anything else? Yeah.
No, that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Any more questions on practicing? Yeah, sure, please. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
So I think my question is a bit personal.
Yeah,
So last week I remember you said like you have injured before,
that's right.
and now I'm having tendonitis with my left hand and
Oh,
cannot
oh,
play
yeah, I can
for
see.
a few weeks. And I also realized after it's been like 3 weeks I'm not playing piano, and now I think it's very weak now.
Okay.
And I want to ask how you get back the stamina after you get
Okay.
injured.
All right. So can I ask a little bit more personal first? You're a pianist, right? That's not here.
Yes, yes.
Well, how do you injure? Is it repertoire or you over practice?
The doctor actually said like it's overuse.
Overuse. So okay. How bad it is now? Your injury. I can see that you're rapping with. Is it? Can you sleep? That means the pain. Is it 24 hours or just when you move or when you play the piano?
Last 2 weeks it's like 24 hours, but now it's already getting better.
Okay. And then can you stretch your hand?
Yeah,
Painful like this?
a bit.
Yeah. Can you bend your wrist?
No, because I'm using.
Oh, yeah,
this.
okay, you're with the guard, yeah. Okay. It looks quite serious, but I was very serious. Many years ago, we are not so aware of that. So, but now we are all aware of this injury, those things. What I have to say, like, you have to rest. Don't do anything with, carry heavy things, or don't practice now. If your right hand is okay, you can still think about music, you can read, but I know in the college you have to, rest first. And it takes some time. And once you get back the strength to play, when there's no more pain, but you still need time to develop back. I stopped 6 months. I didn't play for 6 months. I came back when I was in London. I came back here. So my teacher said, okay, stop. So I didn't play. I just read. I just do whatever I want to do at the time. I take 6 months off. And then when I start practicing, I feel, there's no more pain and it's getting better. I didn't do much treatment because I know that acupuncture or any, you don't want to take steroid to stop the pain because there's no pain. It's not because it's not good health for your hand. So what I did, I rested. Mine is both hands, not one hand. So much worse. So I can't play at all. So what I did, I rested 6 months and I rebuilt again. And I told myself my practices has to very careful, and I don't want that happen again. So my mind is actually was depressing. Of course, for sure I was depressed. But what I do is like I try to use very minimum. So I started practicing like 5 minutes a day when I recovered. Slowly, 1 hand at a time, and my hand was shaking. My fingers are all weak. So gradually, after a few months, step by step, and I never pushed myself more than 20 minutes practice for some time and I feel better and better. And I think I recovered maybe in 2 years. But also, I remind myself now, don't overuse them. Yeah. So it's a lot of, you have to, you yourself know your body, how much you can take. Yeah, I don't say that I'm 100% recovered, because when I play some big pieces, and sometimes I have to prepare for something, I feel some strain again, but not bad. Then I will just stop immediately. I won't practice, and just mental practice, slow practice, very soft, and I don't use energy at all. So, as I said just now, was practicing softly. It's also I discovered that during that. Practice softly because I don't use energy, so I won't get strained. I just like touch the key and then memorize it, and then play it. Yeah. So I hope you recover fast, and don't worry. If you take good care of it, you will be okay because you're young. But when you say you have pain for 24 hours, it is quite serious, the left hand. Yeah. So anything else that you want to?
I want to ask, after you recovered, is there any things that you need to practice, like scales or?
No, I started with just to make sure my finger can be stable on the keyboard first. Not even the scales, just one at a time. It was that bad. Yeah, that time I was 23 or 22. I was 22 years old. Yeah. Yeah, that time. Yeah. But I can play. I mean, of course, repertoire later on I choose carefully. Within that recover, after this recover, so I take something light, Bach, Haydn, Mozart, nothing big, or maybe some nocturne. Yeah, but not ballad, not Liszt, etude. No, that time no. For at least 1 year, just to make sure that I'm healthy. Yeah. So health is the first thing. Not only playing the piano. I mean, this is about our health, but yeah. So and also that's so important. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? No.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Get well soon. Yeah. Yeah. Shall I move on to repertoire? Because we were talking about weaknesses, right? Now, from my experience, like that day, I give a workshop on fundamental piano playing, and I noticed some student was playing very, very difficult repertoire, and it's good to choose difficult repertoire to learn, but you have to also to know whether you are ready. This is about as experience as like my experience teaching. I make mistake too. I make mistake choose the wrong repertoire for myself. Sometimes I'm too ambitious, or even I judge competition. When I judge competition, I always say, why these children play these pieces? And then you know that they can't play. They just play the notes, or not the music, or they just cannot play at all. So the same thing I said before a little bit in the master class. I said there's a repertoire that you should present yourself on stage, either competition or auditions or exam or auditions and all this performances. There are pieces that you should play at home to make yourself improve. So something not suitable or something more difficult, but only when you're ready. Example, like this is what in, I'm not sure other places, but in Malaysia in general, because I have been here for some time, everyone skip, example, Bach. They don't play enough 2-part, 3 parts, or they don't understand much polyphonic playing. Straight away go to prelude and fugue. I don't understand why. I said, how can you play 4 voices when you can't even play 2 voices, example, properly, independent hand or something like that. Or they haven't played enough, like, example, Chopin etudes, there's some easier one, but they will choose the hardest one immediately. So the injury comes. What else comes? Many things comes. Like, you suffer, you're injured, or you can't play, you're not ready for that, and then, repertoire is so important. That's why it's not only for us, for students, but I think also I address to teachers too. We can be ambitious, but a bit more careful, because at the end of the day, in the recital, you have, or in the the jury there, the jury will just hear, oh, that doesn't sound like the piece that I want to hear, or there are too many problems in those pieces. Yeah, it's not like, it's good to play pieces, example, like play beautifully, slightly easier than play a difficult piece badly. To me, I'm always, when I judge something, or exam or competition, I always hear, example, we talk about young children, like 9 years old. Wow, they play a difficult piece, but oh, not nice. Not good. And someone plays something like a simple, beautiful lyrical pieces by Grieg or Mendelssohn. Wow, amazing, so musical. Of course, that's better, because at the end of the day, we want good music. We are not looking on how difficult is the piece. It's how you play. It's not how difficult the piece. We are not competition or audition exam, the piece is harder. It's not like this. So, I mean, that's my personal way, but I find music is more important. So you have to know to choose the repertoire for yourself on stage. Any performances or... so now talk about repertoire. It can be to, any, for pianists or for violinists or chamber work. Yeah? Any questions about that? You have any experience that you want to share about repertoire? Pianist, violinist, chamber, or cellist, or singer? Yeah. Anyone? Yeah, sure, please. Yeah.
I got a question that is how to have our own interpretation when playing a piece, and because I always after studying all the scores and then hear a lot of recording, but I want to have my own interpretation and not copying others.
Oh, I see. Okay. A very good questions, but also quite hard to put into words. But to me, music is not like I want to be just original, because sometimes it's dangerous to say, oh, I want to be different, so I dye my pink hair here, or I don't know, do whatever. So we don't do that to music that which is written. We don't do that for music that is created by other people. I don't do that. I'm not saying that you have to just follow the score and read it, rigid. No. But also we cannot go extreme and say, okay, because people play like this, I want to play different. So example, example, a tempo is written maybe presto. You say, oh, I want to be different, so I play largo. No, don't do this, please. That is not interpretation. That is just you try to destroy the piece. Yeah, example. So what I want to say, different interpretation is good. So it's dangerous that you think that you want to be something your own. Yeah. So it always has to come from a lot of with yourself understanding of the music, that piece itself. I can only take example some composers is very, you can tell from that the way they write music, from the score, or the way they you read about their life and things like that. Like example, just now I was talking Ravel is a perfectionist. He will mark down from the half a bar here, ritardando. And then sometimes he write poco, a little bit of ritardando. So you know that he wants a little bit. He wants more here. So he's very precise. So it's like a perfectionist, when he composes, he will tell you exactly how he wants. But we still have room about how much space, or maybe slightly slower here or there. But we cannot say, okay, that's a poco ritardando, then you just say, okay, I don't care about it. That is arrogance, because he created, it's not us. We are not, but if you are a composer yourself, you are the first-hand creation, means you created that music. But as a performer, our duty has to be clear, that what we are doing, we have to serve the music. We are not changing the music. So interpretation can be we still need to, there's still more things to think about. But what I suggest is not to change anything. Like Beethoven also very clear. So when I learned Beethoven, my teacher used to tell me, don't destroy the piece. Read carefully. She's very strict. I mean, I'm also very strict, but what I'm saying that she's, she doesn't let us do strange things, but I think it's important to respect. This is called, we do things, we have to have this integrity. It means like to respect what people has created. Not say blindly, but we have to know more. If you want to change something, that you have to be sure that there is a, not change, I don't say the word change, sorry. You want to do something different, you have to know why. It's not because I want it, it's about ego, about like, I don't know, he's trying to be funny, trying to do different. Not that way. Is it clear? It's quite hard to explain that, but I'm trying my best to explain that to interpret the piece. So, when I compose, it's different because I know that I'm composing, so I can do strange things. People can hate it or like it. But when I perform, example Schumann that day, I'm not going to change to like, for example, this should be lyrical. I make it very, bombastic or something. I'm not going to do that because to me it's like, I will feel very bad. I will feel guilty. So I know there are people who do that. Example like Bach. No indication. So it can be very creative, but also to know about the performance practice, to understand the stylistic before, the instruments before, or the way they played it before, and look at the traditions after that till now. Many people play different. Like there are some people put more pedals, so we have a lot of argument about all these things, different articulation, all this. But in general, we do everything that we have something to support. Means like you do it because you understand it, you know that, all these things, and you change something. And I think it's not because I want to be different. I always joke with my students when they do something very funny, I say to them, I say, you want to do something different, you compose your own piece, I say. I'm just joking, of course, I'm being a bit harsh sometimes, yeah? So, why? Because we can be original, but not because of the sake of being different. You have to really know what you want to say, and why do you do that? Yeah, something like that. Is it clear? Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just trying to share because it's quite hard, this question. Yeah. But it's a very good question. Yeah. You make me think how to explain that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. I think I will go on to the next one. Working with musicians. As a chamber musicians, or all pianists will work with singers or string players, or composers will work with different musicians as well. So I will talk about this, how important to be someone, sometimes musicians can be very, of course, there are many different types of musicians. Some of them are very easy to work with, some of them are very diva, some of them are difficult, some of them are, I don't know, there are many, many different types of people around. But what I want to say is, working with musicians is so important because this is what we have to do. Like example, composers. I was asked to compose one piece. Two composers here. Yeah, how many composers? Sorry, I want one. Only two composers here today. Okay, good. All right. So, I have to work. I was commissioned to write a piece with musicians who doesn't read notes. They are the traditional gamelan people. So, to me, it's the huge challenge to write something using Western instruments to mix together with the traditional Malaysian, Indonesian instruments, because this piano is tuned with, the 12 notes are well-tempered, but those instruments is very hard to blend in, and with musicians who doesn't read notes. So, and to write in music like my own style with the traditional. So, to create new music with the different. So, but I have one of the best experience in my life because it was so much fun. They are good with improvisation. So, my score is a lot of graphic, just to say, and I play with them so I can conduct and can work together section by section. So I was lucky to do that. So what I want to say is we have to deal with different type of musicians, whether it is like in a classical setting, classical way, I mean like stage, or with other musicians. So it's same thing in like I work with people like chamber music. Like you saw me here with Chishan and Stephen. We have a very good time working together, and because we are good friends, and also we love the music, those music that we played, and yeah. So collaboration is something that's so important, and also friendship. So all of you are here. Different age group, maybe first year, second year, or foundation. But I think friendship is something that will help you to go through this journey as a musician, because sometimes, like when I first graduated, most of the concerts is invited by friends. Like my violinist from Spain say, "Oh, come to Spain and perform with me," or a trio. Or then my friends say, "Oh, I just came back to Singapore, can you play the cellist or something?" Yeah, something like this. So it started with that, and then you make more music. And till now, my classmate in Royal College, they are all teaching here actually. I'm sure you know who are they. Yeah, Miss Morek and Bang Hian. When I was in London, I was the latest. They were there. So they take care of me. So till now, we are still very good friends. We support each other, everything. Like, I asked them about what should I talk here today, or they would, because they are working here. So I think collaboration is something that we all have to, when at college time now, all of you, like, you're a pianist or violinist, I think all of you should build this connection. Yeah? So, and yeah, spend more time to play with others. So not just practicing by yourself, always your own instrument. Look around and work together. Any questions? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. About chamber music, about accompanists or anything, or composer working with musicians. Or you have any hard time? I have hard time too. Yes, you see they're nodding their head. Yeah. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, sure.
I'm just curious, like, do you actually play, like, when you say working with like other musicians, do you do you guys actually play for fun, or like, do you only work with musicians when you guys really need to work on some project and performance?
Okay, I can explain to you. When I was college student like you, I lived in a dormitory, right? A hostel, and we used to sight read like mad and play badly. It's like, not really prepared for concerts or anything. We, like my friends just say, okay, let's try four hands, take the whole symphony by Tchaikovsky, let's sight read. Wow. And then we say have to play through, the four hands, because at my college they have lots of all these scores, very old score, that you have the transcription for four hands, piano, so all the symphony. So we just take and sight read and we laugh like crazy because we play so badly, So it's for enjoy. We just like to enjoy. It's not everything has to be always serious. Music has some fun, for sure. Yeah. Even, not always have to be so serious about. Of course, then when we come to performing on stage, then we have to work harder, Yeah. But I also sight read through the Schubert trio, and it's so unfair. The piano part is so difficult. And the violin said, why what's wrong with you? You're getting slower. I said, so many notes I have to play. You know, we were sight reading. Just like just now I was talking about enjoy. So now you have this setting now, like in the campus. You should all should enjoy like this.
I mean, I strongly agreed with that because as a contemporary like musician, me myself, we do like jamming. There's this term called jamming where like we just like play songs and we like just improvise or like we just like sing and then improvise and do all these things. We're just like generally having fun. But the thing is like a lot of like classical musicians, they don't really know like what could they be doing because they don't improvise, they don't play jazz.
It's very different. Jazz and classical. That's why my teacher asked me to learn jazz. I'm terrible, okay? I'm terrible at jazz, but
it's okay. We are all learning.
But you know, like I enjoy jazz music. A lot of people are surprised at what I listen to sometimes, you know? Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people like just practicing, but they only like where for CME or like chamber music ensemble, they only like practice during that. But before that, they don't really think of playing with others. Because I think maybe because like they just think of like piano solo.
But you have to forgive us classical musicians because when we have no notes there, right? We feel like, what should we do? We don't improvise like the jazz musicians, but I think we should. I'm not saying that it's a kind of excuse for classical musicians. We should learn how to adapt because I myself play a little bit of jazz, but not good. Not good. I'm not. I just have always say
you are learning. We are still learning.
So what I want to say is like. Be more open-minded. I always say the word to musicians: be open-minded. Like I have worked with very not say strange, but very different kind of people. Like sometimes they're very serious musicians, like not serious, like classical musicians. Sometimes I work with musicians who doesn't read notes, as I said before, so it doesn't matter because we're still making music.
But how do you communicate sometimes when like we are both from a very different world? And how do you communicate? Like, how do you actually?
You have to make the person comfortable. You have to make sure that you have, as I said before, make them comfortable, and I have to comfortable with them, and work together like we share. We say, okay, what's the problem here? Not so much about how to say pushing, but it's more like in
compromising.
Like very friendly environment.
Trying to like compromise with each other.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the common language, how do you do that?
Like, what do you mean common language?
As in if they don't speak the language that you speak, like how do you work with them? Like, have you this like experience before? I'm just curious. Like you speak English, right? But they don't speak English, and then they speak like maybe like German, French, and then like, but you need to work with them.
Oh, I see.
Have you been in that situation before?
Different language. Okay. But usually they can understand English a bit, right?
Yeah, true.
So, but music sometimes can be, when you work, it's very easy. That's a kind of music, I consider it also a language because you get to adapt. And words, sometimes we need that to express, but you can show also. You can show.
Yeah, true.
So, it's working with people, most important thing is like you have to make sure that they are comfortable with you. So I find that that's so important, I mean, I'm sure you want to work with people who makes you feel comfortable, right?
Definitely.
Not give you attitude or something. But we also have trouble before. Of course, as composer, we always have trouble, right?
Especially, I think it's because like when you don't understand the instrument, and then you try to ask them to play something, and for them it's impossible to do that. So they need to tell you like they can't do it. You need to do it the other way, because I have like composer friends also who also have like this kind of problem. Thanks. That's my question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right. Shall we take just a short break, like 3 to 5 minutes, and freshen up a bit, and then we continue the second half about Schumann's advice, and I will share a little bit about personal things like how to get inspired, because I think it's important that during this long journey of our learning or in music, we have to be inspired all the time. So I will share a little bit of stories with you all. Okay, we take a break, short break now, 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, you can, yeah. Okay. All right. Are everyone here? Okay. All right. Okay. The second half, as you know, there's some advice for young musicians by Robert Schumann. It's written by, of course, it's written by Schumann quotes, but there's a book by this cellist who's revisited. I mean, that means he wrote it. Some advice include Schumann's quote there. So I advise all the students here, if you're interested, try to get this book. I can show you later. It's here. Very small. You can read it in one day. But every single advice is so useful even after so many years, about more than 180 years now, to all the musicians. We go straight now to, I choose only 9 points, 9 quotes that Schumann, by Schumann. So you can read this, but you can see it, right? So this is about what I said just before, about love. You have to love music, the enthusiasm. Because we are all here in Music University. So, So it's so important to have this passion, this love, and this, this fire that you want to learn, and you love music enough to keep going for this journey. Ling Tao, second, yeah. We all know this, right? If we don't work hard, anything, any field, we can't go further. We can't get our goals. Okay, this is the one I want to talk a bit more, elaborate a bit more. So, this is what he said, like, if everybody were to play first violin, we could not have an orchestra and respect each musician in his own place. It's not just about being a musician, like you always have to be a soloist, or maybe have to be the main singer in the opera or whatever. But what I want to say is that also in teaching, because most of us have to be practical. Not everyone will be a soloist here. Of course we work, in our playing and all this, but be realistic. So I want to say is like even in teaching, everyone say I just want to teach, example. Have high goals is good, ambitious is good. I want to be a professor, teach PhD or teach a master's. But don't forget, we all need very good teachers for young ones. If your passion, your character is suitable to teach children, right? I think it's a great job to give the best education to the young ones. And I always tell some of my friends, I say, I wish sometimes, we have better, more how to say it, students who comes in to university, they have more training first before they come into university, something like that. So I'm not saying that about any, how to say, I'm not saying that the level or whatever, but I'm just saying that we all have a place here, but we have to find this place. So I hope all of you will be to understand about this. I think this is one of the most important thing that we need to know in our career, or in choosing which field which path you are going to. Like example, if I am a very nervous person, I go on stage, I have lots of memory lapse. Means, normally I can play, but I go on stage, I get nervous because I'm not, I can't play. So it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You have to improve that. But maybe you can try to think, I enjoy music more if I have the score, or I can play with people. I feel comfortable when there are more people sharing stage with me. So then you think about maybe chamber music, or or a accompanist or something. So I'm just saying that this is an example. Doesn't mean you all have to, do it. But what I want to say is that that's one of the things that it reminds me. And also choosing a career as a teacher or as educator, or I don't know, something related to music in the future. So think about that. Yeah. All right. Next one. Can you all read? Can see, yeah. So about good food for the brain, for musicians. Like, as I said, I joked last week, I said, I was surprised with all the auditioning pieces for pianists. No one played Bach. To me, Bach is always my repertoire that, even though, example, I just share with you something funny. During this MCO since last year, I play lots of Bach. I mean, I don't play them good, but I'm just saying that I play a lot of them. Play through all the 48 and then learn the Goldberg variation. I memorize it. So I'm crazy, I'm crazy about Bach. But everyone's different. But what I want to say, why? Because most of the time we will choose pieces that, or the teachers or you will choose pieces that you like to play, like, oh, I love romantic pieces, or soul, or those technical pieces. So, but we need good food. The basic, like, why Bach? Example, Bach. It gives you clear all the good foundations about. It's not easy to play at all, but like voices, phrasing, articulation, and then you also have lots of room to develop the music, the understanding about a lot of things like the structure and all this. Yeah. So what I want to say that try to talk to your teacher. You choose something that you like, but you also need good food for your music practices and learning. Okay, next, yeah. Okay, this one we all know. Yeah, I don't have to elaborate. Okay, it's very straightforward. Next, yeah. Do you agree with this? Yeah? Yeah. All right. So it doesn't mean that maybe now I'm at this age, or you are 15 or 18 and I'm 40 something. We all have different experience, but we put into all the hard work, soul and heart into the music. People can feel it. Even though it's not perfect, it's fine. So that's something that we have to always remember that, with this passion, yeah? Okay. Yeah, as I said in a simple way before, I said technique needs to serve music. That's all. As simple, I make it simple, yeah? Not just for the sake of I have half fast finger, I can play very loud, I can sing the highest note in the world, or something like that. Yeah. Okay? Yeah, this one I just said before. Ling Tao? I think this is the last one, number 9, yeah. So this is about working. Next time when you come out and work, not thinking about me all the time, because there are always people can replace us. Nobody can, can be just like, yeah, everyone can be replaceable, for sure. This is for sure, yeah. Even President Obama, yeah. So be humble of, not as a musician, as a person. Actually, we all should be. We know that so much we can learn, so much we can do. Yep. Okay. All right. The next one, I want to talk a little bit about sharing some very personal stories from me. Hopefully, you all get inspired, because I'm inspired by all these things. A few stories. Okay. Now, I will sit down and talk. Yeah. Now I have to look at. So about the last questions now was last quote by Schumann, right? Said, "Be humble." Yeah. So now I talk about my experiences with great musicians, or my teacher, or someone that inspired me. Is in my journey of so many. Actually, I have many, but I can only share maybe just a few. I just check the time now, how much I can talk. So I'm not going to say the name, but I will say it because these people are still around everywhere. About humble, as an experience from me is one great musician professor came here and gave a master class, piano master class, and he treated me like, I'm his I'm not his student, but he treated like me like as a son, as a student. And I feel very honored because he is someone who is so big name in the classical scene. Like, he judged Tchaikovsky, Sydney International, all this big competition in the world. And he's also a Chopin winner before, many, many years ago. So he came here and gave master classes. Normally, I will send my own students to go for master classes, and when I have time, I will take him out for lunch. So that day, after the master classes, so he was teaching my students, a few of them, and then I took him out for lunch. Before, he came to me and asked me a question. I'm not asking me a question, and talked to me and said one thing. I was totally shocked in my life. I said, because I speak Chinese to him. I call him Lao Shi. And he said, Chong Lim, come. I said, what happened? I said, do I teach okay? He asked me that question. And he said, do you speak Mandarin here, everyone? Because he speaks Mandarin to me. He said, 如果有什么我教得不好，你要跟我说. If I have anything that I don't teach well, you tell me. Do I miss out anything? And I was totally shocked. I said, 老师, why do you say that? I was sitting down there to learn from him, how he teaches. You can see that these people with such character and attitude, that's why they go so far. And he's so modest. I couldn't believe that he asked me that question. So that's how he inspired me, and he loved to share. Even now he's 85 years old. The first thing we talked on the phone recently, he said, this pandemic dragged so long, I can't, go and share things with people. He just want to share with everywhere, every part of the world. But the boy, 85 or 85 years old, he still travel. But of course, pandemic, he can't. But he recently just go back to Shanghai for a short time. But he just want to keep working for music, for teaching, for education, for music. So this is something that I feel that is someone that is inspired me a lot because of how we should work. And I have to remember that, tell myself, okay, I'm not that old yet. Yeah. So this is one of the story. The next one is about learning. I choose some from each of the professors or someone that I met, so in a different way. This is my lesson in London. When I have a Debussy lesson, I remember I just went there, it was 1994. 1994, you were not born yet, all of you, I'm sure. Yeah. So it was talking about, I went into the class, and I came from Seremban. I don't have much knowledge about classical piano playing, but I was lucky enough to get through the auditions, I get into the school in London. And my professor said, okay, I play for him the Debussy. And he just said, okay, no lesson today. But he's not like, he doesn't hate me, but he really treat me very well. But he just said, okay, it's time for you to go out. Now go to this station, go to the National Gallery, and look at, Tate Gallery, to look at the painting. You need to explain to me later about what is Impressionist art. And he will tell me exactly what to do. Like, not exactly, but like, say, go there and look at those paintings by these few people, and then walk around. And the next lesson, so I have no lesson, that lesson is only 2 minutes. No, maybe 5 minutes. I finished playing one piece. And he just said, okay. So to a lot of students, I'm sure they say, the teacher, doesn't want to teach me. Or to me, it's not at all. He just wants me to have open-minded to use art, and he wants to trigger my mind and to make me understand what is next to do. So the next class I went in, we were talking about brush, about different painting, and what are the, and the colors, all this. And then, so from that, he said, now you play. Of course, I'm just a normal student, So I never think that so I just say, okay, I changed something, but then he just said, and we start working from there. So a lesson doesn't mean that you just have to sit down and play for 1 whole hour or 1 or 2 hours lesson. It's more about being inspired, or and also the guidance is not just do this, do that, do this, do that. It's trigger yourself to think, to see I might not understand immediately the form or the way, the brush, how they use, or what kind of oil painting or watercolors. I'm not a painter. But that is some inspiration that we don't need to always just have to talk about, okay, play this note louder, softer, or whatever. But it's more something triggered inside, innerly. And it's for a long term. Till now, I remember that lesson. Yeah? So this is something that we can be inspired by all sorts of, all sorts of things, like reading a book. But I won't say too many things because they're too, and I just want to pick a few to tell you how I get these inspirations, even from then, 1994. Now is how old am I now? Okay, now how many years? I don't know. 27 years later. Yeah, wow, that's a long time. I still remember that lesson. And the next one is, okay, I think this one, I have the last teacher, my piano professor, last teacher in Austria. And she was one of the teacher who gave me, who saved my hand. Remember just now we were talking about injuries, the girl asked me about injury. And this teacher, she saved my hands. And she just told me, say, without that healthy hands, you can't, say you're going to suffer the rest of your life playing the piano, you might give up. So, and she was talking a lot about, she's like a doctor, find solutions about don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, do that. A lot of don't, no, to me. And then I start to realize that my playing changed a lot, more relaxed, and also I find a way to deal with this problem. So slowly I recovered. Before that, I recovered already by, like I know what to do, but now I can play a bit more with, I can still make sound and all this technical thing. So she has the way to analyze the student problem. So I try to learn as much as a teacher. I think my years with her is not long, but I learned a lot how to deal with problems. And she has one of the very scary, how do you say, like a doctor, right? Straight away he can tell you what went wrong. You're playing or whatever. Yeah, so I'm trying to learn that, and I think I'm still learning. So it will improve my teaching a lot, and I can. It's always about finding the right key for the right doors. Yeah. So the last one. Later on, we will have Q&A. Anyone can ask anything that you're being inspired. You can share with me your story. It's nothing to do with music. Do you think, as a musician, right, we go on stage or do on work, we're under a lot of stress, right? Mental strength, is it important? Mental strength. It's very important, right? I'll tell you a joke, okay? This is a very personal story. In 2014, I never hiked. I never a fit person, a sport person. All my friends were shocked in December 2014. They saw me at Everest Base Camp. That's my first hike. My first hike is in Everest Base Camp. I never even hiked Jalan Gasing here, or I don't know, or whatever mountain here. The reason is like not because I want to hike Everest Base Camp. I didn't plan. I want to visit one of the village because I have some work I want to do with the poor village. That's part of my work beside music. I have another part of me that I always want to do some work for underprivileged people. But that is something that I was shocked myself, very shocking, because I thought I just want to go to halfway through the Himalaya range. And my legs are not trained. I came back, I was limping because I can't walk, because it was too difficult. But I managed to go to when I reached there, they asked me, "You're already halfway there, do you want to try to go up to the base camp?" I said, "What do you mean base camp? How high?" He said, 5,000, 5 something is not too high. I said, "What?" I was thinking like 5,000 something is very high. So I went up and I still come back, I'm still alive here, okay? So what I want to say is I'm not boasting. I'm just saying that It's mental strength because I want to do something. I want to go there and build a greenhouse somewhere, not base camp, but somewhere the village there. So I went there. So that's what I felt. Oi, wow! This person never sport person, never do anything much, not even gym or whatever. so can go up there just like that. I think I have quite strong mental. I mean, mentally I'm quite strong, and I can survive with the 11 days, ups and down. So this is just sharing that all of you have those hidden strengths, but you want to go on with this music career, you have to be strong because it's not that easy, very competitive out there. Any field actually these days for youngsters is harder than before. It's more competitive. So what I want to share with you is just a kind of a joke. I remember my friend said, "Hey, do you Photoshop that photos?" When I post on Facebook, I arrived at base camp. The thing all Photoshop example. So this is just a joke, just some story. What I want to share is, please be strong, yeah, and believe in what you want to do, and choose the right, thing that you're aware of. Like why I talk about self-awareness. You know yourself better. And choose the right path for yourself in this music line where you want to go. It's so important to have this courage. This courage. It's very. I was lost like you. I don't think all of you are lost, but I have. At your age, I'm quite lost. Yeah, I was also depressed before, not sure, uncertain, but I think you will find your own way. Yeah, and also. Hopefully, everyone will get to do what you are happy with and have a career, a good career of yours, whatever, either teaching or either performing or whatever. Most important, you have to be happy with what you are doing, what you choose. All right? Okay, we still have time a little bit. I want you all to ask questions, and you can share with me your stories. Whatever you have, or any questions that... Yes. Joshua, I remember.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask something about criticism. So because we are musicians and everything, music is very subjective. So how do you deal with criticism?
Mm-hmm.
And the other question is, as a person and as a musician, how do you choose your words when you are giving advices or comments on people's playing and something like that?
All right, sure. Criticism, okay, sure. Whatever we do, we get criticized. You look at YouTube now; it's scary. Even Rachmaninoff composed his own concerto. He said, some pianists dislike Rachmaninoff playing Rachmaninoff. Oh, it's amazing, Yeah. So we get criticism anyway. So you have to juggle which one is. We have to not say we don't take criticism. We take, but some you shouldn't, because some of them are really, whether they are at the right place to criticize you, means like whether they know enough to criticize you, or they just say it because they want to just attack you, or maybe they feel that that's a bad day. They just feel like I want to do something bad. So social media is dangerous. So usually I don't look at them. If it affects you, I don't look at them. But if it doesn't affect me, then I just look, okay, fun. I can share with you this experience about one of my friends many years ago, a great friend. She has a concert in London, and when I arrived in London, I visited her. She showed me that review. She was not affected, but I look at the review. My goodness, how can someone write such bad review? About the performance, very bad. It's like, and she's just joking, like, it sounds like, I have murdered his mother or something like that. so as bad as that, really bad. I mean, I never seen I have seen very bad review for some other people, but that was bad one. But she was just like, no, she doesn't feel anything. I can understand why, because we have, as I said, we have to be strong. Whatever you do, exam, a competition, sometimes you get people who tell you nasty comments. Sometimes those comments can be very personal. Some of them are just not. So you have to learn how to say it, not affected too much by that. But some of the criticism are actually very useful. Sometimes we don't want to just always hear good words. Like I told my student, I'm very direct to my students. I'm not that, because I know them. I say, I'm here to guide you, so I'm not trying to please you. So the lesson cannot be, oh, very good, wonderful, oh, perfect, oh, you're so good. So what do you learn? You learn nothing. So you come for class, so as I say, I won't spend time to praise you because you should know where you are, you should know what's good. So I work with only that 1 hour class or 1.5 hours is all working. So I'm very strict. I'm sure those students, but in master class I'm nicer because the student doesn't know me. But in my class I'm scary, actually, I'm a monster. I'm just kidding. Maybe you can ask them. But okay, now the second question is about sorry.
How do you choose your words when you are criticizing?
Okay, yeah. To my own student, I'm direct. I'm too scary. Yeah, but they have to understand why. I always tell the students, like, I tell them why during that lesson what we need to learn, not to just everything easy going. As I said before, when I practice to myself, I'm very strict. Yeah, but with people I don't. But because as I say that we can only tell ourselves what we should do, but not tell other people too much unless they are coming here, they ask you to guide them, to give them the words that, of course, we try to be as encouraging as possible. But sometimes, it's easier to be more direct to someone like a close friend. Like if you talk to your mother or father, you wouldn't say all the nice words, right? I mean, we are nice to them, but they were just straightforward. Say, oh, don't do this, I don't want to eat that. That's not nice. Example. You wouldn't say, oh, Mom, can you cook this a little bit sweeter or whatever? You don't do that, right? You say, okay, hey, not nice. Something like that. Example, because you know them well enough. See, close friend, we can be direct. But with people that you're not so close, that of course you have this kind of more well-mannered, more, how to say, I don't know if I can find the right word in English. More 客气. So, you're a little bit more filtered when you talk. So something like that, yeah? Is it anything else?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Oh, no. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone? Yeah, sure, please. Oh, careful.
Okay, I have two questions.
Yeah.
It's about collaborative. So when we are having a collaboration,
can
can you hear me? Okay. When we are having a collaborating with pianists, or maybe some people call them as accompanists, should we call them pianists or accompanists? Because some of them just feel like they got offended by being called accompanists. Yeah, I've met some people like that. And the second thing is when some instruments, especially singer, they need a pianist to help them for every class, as I know that. So should those pianists ask for play to earn? Like, I play for you and then you give me money. Should we have that kind of mindset, or we should we are learning together? So you and I are at the same level.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because some people, they feel like, okay, I'm just having class with you. I'm not having the class. You are the person that having the class, and I want you to pay for me. So as a student, or maybe when we go out for the future, what kind of perspective should we have on when we have this kind of situation?
Okay. It's okay. So long your question. So I forget the first question. I'm getting old now. So what's the first question? One question first.
My first question is when we are collaborating.
Okay. Pianists or companies? Yes, I remember now. Sorry. I was trying to. Okay. To me, I have no problem, but it's dealing with people like some people are more sensitive, or some people they want to be addressed, more proper. So you have to know who you are dealing with, if the person is very sensitive or whether they are like very easygoing. So so you just have to know. So that's, again, it's not so much about music now, it's about dealing with people. It's important because it's part of life, you know, you work in any situation, you need to learn. So I think you just have to know the person, or if you don't know the person, just be a bit more proper first. Just say, you know, some people say, you say they don't like to call accompanist. Yeah, but I don't know why, but yeah. But maybe if it's chamber music, you call them accompanists, maybe they don't like. But even that doesn't matter because you still play the, you know, you still play music together. So you just have to be a little bit more tactful, yeah. So if you don't know the person well enough, be proper. Let's just say. So that means you think about it first before you address them. The second question is about like class that you say play together, right?
Yes.
Like say, I don't see there is any problem to play together because actually I play a lot with friends when I was in London. Like I accompanied the whole cello class. I mean the cello school, that's a cello class, like 8 of them. So I'm official piano, not official, but I mean, the teacher asked me to play for all of them, all 8 of them. So when you say just now was talking about, what is the problem actually playing?
It's like, for example, I'm having a class, my major class, and I need a pianist for every of my class. So some pianists, they feel like, okay, you need to pay me like how many. So I will
pay.
for you. Yeah.
Oh, I thought play. Okay.
Pay.
Okay.
But another thing is, should we pay them, or should we like have the mindset of you and I are learning together? And like it's quite contrasting lah, because it's really contrasting because it's like you are the one having class, it's not me. So I just play the piano for you, and I didn't get anything.
Okay.
Some people feel like that, but some don't. So I'm quite confused when it comes to like choosing a person to collaborate with me, or is it a normal thing that actually happens every day?
No. Actually, it depends. I know that all students who study, or they, you know, financially, because studying music is not easy, not cheap, for sure. So some college, some students, they need to earn some money. I totally understand that. But that one is dealing with each of them. Like, you know, some of them, they don't mind. Some of them, so you have to talk clearly first to them, whether they mind coming to your class that you can't afford to pay them the fees for, or like, I don't know. It depends. I mean, it just depends on, like, when I was a student, actually, I don't get paid. I don't get paid to play for anyone. But because, not say I'm not rich, okay? I'm the scholarship, okay? But I also need money to live. But I think you just have to make sure everything is clear. If they are your friends or whether it's not so close friend, you have to make sure everything is clear about.
Like both sides is comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's like the balance, compromising a little bit, because yeah, that's a sensitive issue as well, because you're all students, you know, and then sometimes they need to maybe earn.
Yeah, we can understand that they want to earn some money.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because it takes up a lot of time for them to learn the music, and also to go to your class. They might miss certain class.
Practice, rehearse.
Yeah. So you have to. This is about collaboration, that you have to dealing with each. Maybe it's the best is to lay out all the terms. Not sign paper, not contract, but it's just to talk about it and to make sure both are comfortable. Then you start working together.
Okay. Yep,
Okay.
that's my question.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Any more questions? We still have a bit of time. 4 minutes. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Ng. Could you share a bit about your experiences as a pianist and composer with working with conductors? Because that's something I'm interested to get into. What advice would you give me or any other student who would like to go into conducting?
Oh, conducting. All right. Actually, I advise all piano students, or not only piano students, all instrumentalists, right? Either take a kind of a secondary subject in composition and conducting. because working with conductor is another, it's the same thing, it's also collaboration, and also it depends on, okay, let me explain, like, it's, as a soloist, with orchestra, first we have to prepare, and also have to know that, we have to know the orchestra part well, and then also to know the conductor means like to know that, to prepare well enough that they don't have so much trouble, because sometimes it can be, we are not prepared enough to understand what are the problems during rehearsal, because most of the professional rehearsal is 1 time or 2 times. So it's very short for a big piece. So conducting is important for us to learn, because of, to understand, pulse, how to do, how to get the music. It helps us to know the score better as well. Like composing is another thing, which I feel that is so important. A lot of the time that, I myself compose, so when I look at score, I would say, I would guess why Ravel do that, or Beethoven, or I guess, what if he choose another note? Sometimes I even joke with my students, I play something, I say, if I'm a bad composer, I choose this note, how do you feel? Because they don't feel that note to be special, to be precious. So, so my question, your question is like, is it important to learn conducting? I mean, is it? Yeah.
No, actually, I myself, as a pianist, I'm interested to go into orchestral conducting.
Oh,
so based on your experience, could you share some advice for me? Like, what are the aspects that I should be working on specifically?
Yeah. No, I myself didn't learn conducting, but I think conducting that you have to have to read score, not just because we pianists only 2 lines or sometimes 3 lines, but orchestra you have to know a lot of orchestra, and then you have to know the problem of the orchestra, like the instruments itself, like winds, how it works, and certain kind of technique. But we cannot play everything. But you are a pianist, actually more how to say, all-rounded, because you hear harmony and all this. And to know each instruments, like generally you know well, and then also reading score, I think is something that which is example, like I was trained before sight reading to play a string quartet. That means like, play on the piano, they give you a string quartet score, and it's like, immediately you just have to look at the viola, the alto clef, and it's like, you just to try. It's hard, but then later on you do the winds, the horn and F and trumpet, all this. It's just part of the kind of its reading skills. And I don't know, because I never learned how to conduct before, but I think that's part of the skills that you need to develop. That's what I'm not so sure about what else, but maybe you should talk to like the conductor, because I myself is more a composer and pianist. So, but I think it's good that you want to go into orchestral conducting, and I suggest most students to take that as well, because it's another experience, which and a lot of great music are actually symphonies and all the operas and things like that, great work. So instrumental itself, it's like we have lots of wonderful things, but you have another. It's like Barenboim, like Ashkenazi, they all go into conducting and they become such a great conductor too. Yeah. So I'm sorry that I don't have much experience in conducting, lesson or whatever, but that's what I can share at the moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, thank you.
No.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. And today's workshop is actually very light and very easy going. Like, I hope that you all get some ideas or some inspiration that, and yeah, and good luck to all of you. Good luck to all of you, and all the best. Yeah? Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.